today we're going to talk about the ultimate guide to moving on a budget across country. Hi, this is David Xie with the Xie Mortgage Team. Moving across country is a very, very daunting task, especially when you factor in all the expenses that are needed and all the expenses that are needed for not only the move, but the expenses that you have to save up to get another house or get other housing. So today we're going to cover a bunch of different things so that we could save you on moving and help you qualify for a loan. Number one, if you're moving from town to town, a typical move is going to be right between like $1,000 to $8,000 depending on how much stuff you have. And then if you're going coast to coast from the West Coast to the East Coast, I would say that would cost on average like $10,000 to $15,000. And here's some strategies to kind of keep everything down so that we could save when we go to buy a house. Number one is to downsize your belongings. One of the most effective ways to kind of downsize your belongings is to sell it online. There's apps such as like Marketplace, OfferUp, classified ads, eBay. There's a bunch of ways that you can sell things now. And when you're selling these belongings that you have, that's actually going to downsize on the weight. And that's how a lot of these moving companies, they look at weight or size of everything, okay? So when you're considering, hey, do I take this giant mattress that I'm probably not gonna want to use again to my next place, or should I just sell it for maybe $150 and then go buy a new mattress? You know, that's something that, you know, I would definitely look at. Donating items to charity are also really good. So when you donate these items to charity, you get a tax write-off that you can use at the end of the month or end of the year to further reduce your moving expenses. Always, always, always plan ahead. Just like anything in life, the shorter the planning curve is, the more it's gonna cost. So when you plan ahead, that typically helps you because you can go ahead and get everything organized with regards to the movers, to people that help you load the trucks, to people that compare moving companies and their cost and things like that. Whether you want like a road service, whether you want something by sea, whether you want something by train, whether you're moving during like peak seasons or not. You know, this is definitely something that you always want to plan ahead. Just like in mortgages, we always want a game plan. So we're game planning for this and we're looking at everything. We're looking at the budget. You're talking to your loan officer and you're saying, hey, what is the actual cost of doing this loan for down payment and closing cost? And then you're looking at your move, and if there's any like, you know, relocation bonuses or anything that's included in that, you can kind of budget and plan ahead and you'll save a little more. Packing your belongings, the more you do, the less it costs. The more you have everyone else do, the more it costs. So consider like, you know, getting boxes off of things like Nextdoor or Marketplace, or even like posting online and asking friends for like different old moving boxes and bubble wrap and things like that when they come in. Label everything so when the movers are there, they can know where to put everything as soon as they go. Having towels and blankets to kind of like cover around fragile things will help you save money too, because if something doesn't break during the transport of it, then that's going to save you money. Next tip is to rent a moving truck. Renting a moving truck versus having a company move it across wherever you're going, across town or across the coast, is a really big consideration. So typical rental truck costs are going to cost anywhere from $100 to, you know, $800 for a local move, or it could be as much as like a couple $1,000s for a long distance move, because when you're taking it from one location to another location, a one-way drive, it definitely costs more. If you're renting with a company like U-Haul, I would definitely look at like their services that they offer with labor help. When I did my last move, I'll tell you, one of the biggest savings that I had was just hiring a newer company that came in and did it. And we were just moving from city to city. So when my wife and I boxed everything up, taped it up, labeled everything, they just went in the house, and within a couple hours, 3 guys just moved everything into the U-Haul truck. I drove the truck across to another city, and next thing you know, they drove with me and they unloaded everything within a couple hours. And at $150 or $200 an hour for like 4 or 5 hours, that was a very, very big savings. However, if you're going to be moving across coast to coast, there are alternative options such as pods and things like that may be a better savings, especially if you get multiple pods that they place on the back of big old trucks and carry it to different areas. But it's definitely something that you need to plan for and plan ahead. Now, let's go into the loan process. When you're doing the loan and you're moving coast to coast, if you're in the military, awesome. You know, PCS orders, that's really all we need. And we'd be able to pull all your certificate of eligibilities, help you with the financing right away. However, if you're just a a civilian or you work in a place where you're not going to be able to get a VA loan, you need to start considering, hey, how do I know I can depend on this income? And how does the loan officer know that we can depend on this income? So one of the first things that we're going to need is we're going to need a new job offer letter. A job offer letter will show how much your wages are, what's guaranteed, if there's any per diems, if there's any bonuses, if there's anything that, we would take into consideration for your income. That's very important. Certain loans will let you move just on a job offer letter, and certain loans will require you to get at least a 40-hour check. And with things kind of tightening up, I would go ahead and make sure you have all of those logistics planned out right away. Next thing is, we already kind of alluded to this, the loan type, right? Whether it's a VA loan, an FHA loan, a conventional loan, a USDA loan, just make sure you talk to your loan officer and make sure they have all the options for you, because with options, it could equal savings. And when you're spending this much money to move to a different place, you need to save as much as you can. So just knowing what your loan types are, and especially with all the new loan level pricing adjustments, you really need to take all that stuff into consideration when you're making this move. The next thing to really think about is the down payment and the closing cost. So we're budgeting for the move. We need to start budgeting for the down payment and the closing cost. Like, look at what your terms are, whether it's a 3% down, 3.5% down, 5% down, or even down payment assistance. That could help you budget for your move. And then finally, plan for the move. Make sure you're not overlapping your rent and mortgage payment along with the new housing expense, because there's nothing that's worse than paying for two housing expenses when you're only going to be living in one house. So my name is David Xie. I'm with the Xie Mortgage Team. We're powered by Xie Mortgage, wholesale mortgage lender. Love to save you some money. Give me a call, 757-478-8493, and I'll talk to you guys later.